Hello again, slot car fans. It is Thursday, which means it's the second day of my visit here to Electric Dreams for the 2026 USA Slot.It Nationals. Today was really the first day of full testing that we did, and I set myself some objectives today. I wanted to run the whole day with my new controller, my new DeFalco. I wanted to see if I could get used to that in time and if it would deliver any benefit compared to my existing primary controller, which is also a DeFalco but an older generation. So that's what I did today. I ran with the DeFalco. It seems very nice. It seems quite punchy and a little bit more lively than my existing DeFalco. So what I've done is I've put a resistor pack in it, which will kind of, just dumb it down a little bit, damp it down a little bit, so it's not so punchy. The track we're running on, the Cunningham Raceway, is not a power circuit. It is not something where you need lots and lots of power or punch. What you need is finesse and cornering ability and handling, really. So yeah, I've taken that step, and from the controller perspective, I had a good day. I thought it was very nice controller. It's got a voltage readout which showed that we were running around about 12.7, 12.8 volts, which is quite high. I'm hoping they're going to bring that down just a tad, for the race. They advertised the race running at 12.5, so I hope that's where we're going to end up. So controller, tick. I think tomorrow I'm going to run my old controller again and just do a back-to-back. So I'll run tomorrow probably all day with my old controller and see how we go, and then I'll make a decision on which one I use after tomorrow's testing. The other thing obviously that I was testing was my car. So I've settled on the Jag, the XJR, not 12, it's the XJR11, which was the second iteration of the V6 turbo engine Jag that ran in the Group C era. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more streamlined, if that counts for anything, just a little bit more sleek looking than the XJR10, which was the previous long wheelbase Jag. So the chassis plate is the same, the body's a little bit different. The handling characteristics are very similar, as you would expect. And yeah, I've had some issues with my car today, so I've cut today short to go back to the hotel room so I can do some work on the car, uninterrupted. I need to give it some attention. I've done that now. I'll take you through what I've done in a moment, because it's something that's common to Jags, these long wheelbase Jags. It's something that's common to them. So I'll take you through that in a second. But yeah, it was a frustrating day from the car perspective. It's very rapid on some laps, and then suddenly it just bogs down for the next couple of laps. And what I've worked out is basically there's a lot of rubbing going on between the rear tires and either the bodywork or the chassis. And what that is doing is that's creating balls of rubber, which then fall into spaces and gaps where you thought you had some clearance, and obviously now you don't, because there's bits of rubber in there, tire debris and stuff like that. So sounds very Formula One, doesn't it? So yeah, there's a lot of that going on with my car today. I've done a load of work in the last half hour just to diagnose all of that and to make sure that is exactly what I was experiencing, so that I can apply the correct fix. So I've done that fix now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk over to my workshop pit area, if I can call it that, otherwise known as the table in the hotel room, and I'll take you through just exactly what the issue was and what I've done to fix it. Am I confident that I found the issue and fixed it? Yeah, I am. Knowing what I know about this particular model of car and what the things that affect it, I think that's what I was experiencing on the track just now, a couple of hours ago. And when I took the body shell off, it very much looked like what I thought it might be in terms of the tire rubbing somewhere. So I have applied the fix accordingly, and testing tomorrow will tell me if I have actually captured the problem. So let's go over there now. I'm going to flip the video, so just bear with me. And my hands are going to get shaky because I need one hand to do the video and I need one hand to do the pointing. So here we go. So this is the Jaguar XJR11. The body, I've done a paint job, as you can see, inspired by the Slot.It Nissan in these Pennzoil colours, but obviously it's a Jag, so everything below the line is Pennzoil, everything above the line is Jaguar, yeah, hence the silk cut logos and all that sort of thing. So that's the body. I actually got a well done from Maurizio Ferrari. Mr. Slot.It himself actually commented on my car, which I thought was very nice of him. So I hope that translates to the concours later, but we'll see. We'll see. There are some wicked paint jobs here at Electric Dreams. Lots of people have taken the time and trouble to do their cars, and they've done some really good jobs as well. So, so where are we talking in terms of the rubbing? The issue for these Jags is that the rules by Electric Dreams say that you have to run these rear wheel spats for the Jaguar, the XJR10 and the XJR11. You have no option. You have to run the wheel spats. They have to be the OEM item. They can't be something you make up yourself, and they have to be fitted in the original position. Okay. What is the intention of that is to limit the track. Yeah, the distance from the outside of one edge of the tyre to the distance to the other. Yeah, because the Jag has got quite an advantage. Being a long car, it handles really nicely. It gets lots of grip down, and a way to penalise it rather than give it ballast is to restrict the rear track. So hence the wheel spats. It's a different move. It's a good move. It works. It's the same for everybody who runs a Jag. If you don't like it, don't run a Jag. Run something else. Okay, but you lose that long wheelbase. Okay, by running something else. So going into a bit more detail, there is very limited room between this side of the chassis. It's not an issue on this side because the chassis is asymmetrical. Okay, but on this side there is very limited room between the edge of the chassis and the inside wall of the tyre. And the reason for that is because with this limited track, with the wheel being pushed this way, yeah, you're getting this edge here of the tyre closer and closer to this edge on the, yeah, if I can point you in a different way, this edge here on the inside of the chassis. Okay, and that obviously runs along there, and you can see how close it is, and you can see by the squareness of this that how I had my car set up previously. This inside edge of the chassis has actually shaved away the inside wall of the tyre. Now, coincidentally, that's now made it an illegal tyre because the tyres have to carry the Slot.It logo and the insignia that says that it is a Nationals spec tyre. So this tyre is now illegal because it's been shaved off by the rubbing that I was experiencing. Okay, so what I've done. And part of the reason why we need a clearance there is because when you run your car, you like a bit of movement between. Can you see that movement there? If I home in a little bit, can you see that movement, that side to side? So the wheels aren't moving, the pod isn't moving, but I can move the chassis, yeah? And that is just a little bit of, what's the word, play, if you like, that gives the car a bit of handling. Now, obviously, the more of that you've got, the more likely you are to brush up against the sidewall of the tyre. Yeah, and that's what the problem was that I was having. I was having too much play. So what I've done is I have used some bigger head screws on the rear end of the pod. Yeah, and that has now limited this side to side a little bit better. And it actually means that I can regulate this distance here between the inside face of the tyre and the chassis. I can regulate that distance a lot more accurately. I've got a lot more control over what's going on there now. So I'm happy that, you know, the evidence of seeing this shaving that's been going on, if I can point to it again, this shaving, that is the evidence that is the real giveaway. That gives me confidence that I'm diagnosing the problem correctly, and the fix is to regulate this distance a lot more accurately, and that's why I've used these big head screws. So there you go. Problem identified, hopefully problem solved. Yeah, so while we're here, let's just take a little bit more of a look at the car. Handout motor, you don't have any options on that. It's the handout 23k motor. This is a 0.5mm offset pod, for those of you familiar with Slot.It. This is a slotting plus axle. The reason I use that is because it's just simply straighter than a Slot.It axle. So slotting plus axle, 55mm, that's the maximum allowed. Modular gear set, these are fantastic, you know, for what they are. You know, a single component that goes, you know, to make a thrust-proof crown gear. They are fantastic. If it wasn't for this, you'd have to use the conventional gear, and you'd probably be trying to fit the wheel stoppers on this section here, or this section here, and there's not a lot of room there. So yeah, these modular gears, I really rate them very highly. They need a little bit of setting up, but once you've got them set up, they are great, and they have some adjustability in them as well in terms of fit. Tungsten weights, 1, 2. I might try and run without the front one tomorrow just to see if it gives me anything. Yeah, I might try and do that. Let's go back to the tyres. These are the G25s, and as you can see, they kind of get polished quite quickly. You know, I've run these ones today. They were almost a rough cut before, but now they're beginning to polish up, which is beginning to be a problem. It's warm here in Los Angeles. These things are over gripping. Yeah, so the motors get hot because they're having to drive the rear axle harder, yeah, because of the inherent grip across the axle. Okay, so the solution to that is simply just put another set of tyres on. You could put these tyres back on a tyre truer and rescuff them. You can do that just to limit the amount of, you know, glossy surface that there is across the width of the tyre. You could do that. But I've prepared 8 sets of tyres, so I've got, you know, a set of tyres for every day. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be changing these over. I'll just reuse these very quickly tomorrow just to make sure that I have cured the problem. But apart from that, I'll be going to a new set of tyres. You're allowed a little bit of tape just to secure this connector in place. This SP45 connector is a mandatory item. Mandatory. You have to run it. And part of the reason for that is on Saturday, on quali day, we will be given our motors. This is a motor of mine. It's just a test motor. It's got the Electric Dreams motor on because it is, and that's where I bought it from. Sorry, the wrap here, but that's where I bought it from. But I'll be getting an identical motor on Saturday after tech inspection, and I'll be installing that. So it's a handout motor. Okay, they've been dyno tested, etc. So hopefully they're a good spec. Okay, yeah, when you take the motor out, obviously, you know, you undo the screws here, and you just pop out the motor, and then using the connector, it's really easy to just reinsert a new motor. Obviously, I should want to try and move this pinion across to the new motor if I can. If I've got time, I would prefer to do that because that's the pinion I've been running. Yeah. Flathead screws, the brass screws, again, not the ones that come out of the box, just to again try to control any pod movement within the chassis. The other end of the SP45 cable setup, you know, very standard. A wood guide, CH07 I think it is, a slotting plus axle, plastic front wheels, again mandatory. You have to run the plastic front wheels. I did ask Marco, the organizer, if we could put a grub screw in them, and he said no. He wants to see those as just spec items. Fair enough, it's the same for everybody. You know, I'd like to be able to put a grub screw in, but if that's the rules, that's the rules. I did ask him about the tape to hold this connector in place. You know, previously there was no allowance for that, but he said yes, that's a good idea. You know, it stops the cables fouling the underside of the driver and the cockpit area. So yes, he went for that one. He said, you know, the tape is a good idea, so that's fine. So yeah, that's just a brief look at the car. The body, the paint job took me a while. You can see there's a lot of, you know, masking going on there and piping work and that sort of thing. Lots of decals. I've spent a lot of time painting the driver, as you can see. My trademark carbon interior, if you like, with Kevlar, obviously, because it's part of the chassis components. So yeah, that's the paint job. I'll be entering it into the concourse. I've got no idea how it's going to do. Like I say, there's a lot of strong cards being played by people doing their own paint jobs, and I just look forward to seeing them all. I really do, because they look fantastic when on the track. So there you go, that's the video. I'm going to leave it there. I know I said I was going to get some track action, and I've failed miserably to do that again today because I was experiencing these problems, so apologies for that. There will be even more people arriving tomorrow, so we're going to have not a full house tomorrow, because I think the first full house day will probably be Saturday, but there's going to be plenty of people there on Friday. There's going to be lots of practice going on. The track's going to get a lot of use, so it's going to be interesting to see how it reacts to temperature and rubbering in. I think it's going to evolve quite a lot over the course of the day, so we will see. So yeah, I'm going to try and get some track action tomorrow when the track's busy, so you guys can see that. It is a wonderful track. It really is. It's very challenging. Requires a lot of finesse, but when you get it right, it's great. It really is. So enjoy the rest of your day. I'm checking out for the day now. I'm done. I'm feeling the effects of the jet lag and trying to apply myself, to a mental problem that's just done me in. So I'm going to put the car back together, put it in its box, pack it away, ready for tomorrow, and off we go again tomorrow. So enjoy the rest of your day, as I say, and do something nice for somebody today. Okay, cheers now.